please do me a massive favor and slap a like on this video, and then also make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on. That way, regardless whether YouTube decides to alert you or not, you'll get a notification on when my videos drop. You'll have to wait for one to winter, or to wait for House of the Dragon Season 1, as it's known on this channel, The Long Night. Okay, Jon Snow is literally everyone's favorite POV next to Daenerys. Now, you could debate me down in the comment section on who yours might be, but for the most part, I think the majority of the people watching this video can agree that Jon Snow, Daenerys, and Tyrion, and then eventually Aegon when he gets his own POV, are the most interesting characters, and usually it's because they have the most POVs. I want to discuss this video in 3 parts. One is Jon Snow's lineage, the second thing is what's happening with Jon Snow in the most recent A Song of Ice and Fire book, and then the third will be predictions for wins. Alright, so starting out, just for clarity's sake, Jon Snow's parents are Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark. It just makes sense. Like, yes, there are other theories that it could be Ned and Ashara Dane, or this person and that person, but we all know that that's one of the things that the show most likely spoiled for the books. Jon Snow's true lineage. While it didn't mean much on the Game of Thrones show, it means an insane amount for the books. For instance, people that are debating the efficacy of Rhaegar having 2 wives, fathering multiple children, and starting a war need to realize that the Targaryens are not like mortal men. I mean, they are. They can die. But also, they fly dragons. They see the world from a different angle, and they're meant to be the peacekeepers, although some of them are afflicted by, the common woes of man, and they're batshit insane. For the most part, some of the Targaryens, without their existence, Westeros would be in complete and utter shambles, like even more war-torn than it already is. The Targaryens, at least when they have their dragons, represent some sort of semblance of power and can bring peace and prosperity to the land by reminding people, like, hey, if you don't follow the rules that makes everything go well, right, that keeps the wheel rolling, then my dragon will burn you to death. So you better, pay attention. Keep in line. Now, even though Rhaegar didn't have a dragon, that sort of godliness, if you want to even call it that, or the I'm better than you sort of attitude, carried on throughout the many generations of Targaryens that didn't have dragons. Rhaegar is one of those. Now, when Aegon first came over to conquer Westeros, he didn't just have 3 dragons, he also had 2 wives. Rhaegar likely posited himself as the person who would bring back dragons, although he just didn't realize how. He knew the dragon needed 3 heads. He also knew that the dragon will need 3 riders. He, in my opinion, saw himself as Aegon the Conqueror, and his children would eventually go on to rule Westeros. Here's the thing. He knew there were no dragons. He knew that if he could have 3 separate heirs of 3 sacred bloodlines, then that would bring the peace about the realm. He knew that it would be really hard, nigh impossible, to bring back dragons, but Targaryens are often seen themselves as the embodiment of living dragons, so maybe he thought that his 3 children would be the ones to unite Westeros. Like, one of the main reasons why he ended up taking on another wife is because Elia, after the birth of Aegon, it was known that Elia Martell would not survive another childbirth. So he knew that if he were to have 3 children, he would have to take on another wife. Now, the bloodline thing, he may not have even noticed about it, but that's not in his character. Rhaegar knew his prophecy. He was a pretty decent knight, yes, but he was more so a bookworm. He obsessed with prophecy. As a matter of fact, he read a prophecy in a book, and that's what even made him pick up a sword. And let me backtrack a bit. Much like when Rhaegar was born at the tragedy of Summerhall, Targaryens infamously misinterpret their dreams. Like, Daenerys even does it in the Dance with Dragons, and will likely continue to misinterpret her dreams in Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring if she makes it that far. Same with Melisandre. It's not just character specifics to Targaryens misinterpreting their dreams. Like, almost every POV, or even in the history books or World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, people who are given dreams often misinterpret them. So Aegon likely, Egg, right, from the Milk and Egg stories, likely thought that if he were to sacrifice Rhaegar and his mother, he would bring about dragons, right? He thought that if he sacrificed someone with, king's blood, right, someone that believed in him, his family members, and then walked into the fire himself with dragon eggs, he saw himself walking out with living dragons. He didn't realize that he was actually seeing a vision of Daenerys walking out of Khal Drogo's funeral pyre with dragons. So if Rhaegar was given a similar vision, or maybe just one that showed 3 different Targaryens ruling over Westeros and he saw dragons, maybe he thought that it was his job to sire those 3 different Targaryens that would eventually rule Westeros and be the 3 stallions that mount the world. He likely may not have realized that 2 of the dragons were his sons, Jon and Aegon, and then the 3rd was his sister, Daenerys, the one who actually brought dragons back into the world. Like, we definitely can all agree here in this video that if Daenerys does come over to Westeros with 3 dragons in tow, Jon and Aegon would be the ones to mount them. They have the most dragon blood. Like, yes, it is mentioned in the Dance with Dragons that Daenerys' dragons are somewhat cool with Brown Ben Plum because he has drops of the dragon blood, but we gotta realize that Quentyn Martell probably had a bit more dragon blood and can trace his lineage back to an actual Targaryen king. It may not just be like you have a drop of dragon's blood and the dragons like you. Like, you probably have to be a direct descendant of a dragon. Like, Rhaegar was born at the tragedy of Summerhall. His blood has magic imbued into it. Obviously, people that are closely related to him, like his sister and then his 2 sons, would be more inclined to cull or tame a dragon. Like, they do a better job than Quentyn. But getting back on track to Jon Snow. In the Dance with Dragons, Jon keeps making mistake after mistake. Okay, like, it's the right thing to do, but also it's a gigantic mistake because the people closest to him he's sending away, and then the people that are warning him about it, he's kind of ignoring the hints that are being dropped. Like, Melisandre literally says, hey dude, watch out, there's daggers in the dark, they're gonna get you. We saw Game of Thrones season 5. We know how he's brought back on the TV show in Game of Thrones season 6. In the books, Jon Snow's laying in the snow dead. But here's the thing. It's not like how it happens on the TV show. He's not lured out of his his Lord Commander's chamber and is forced to turn around and look at a sign that says traitor, and then he's stabbed in the dark and no one kind of sees him, right? And Davos takes it. That's not what happens. As a matter of fact, there's something insane happening, right? So basically, one Wegdar 1-1, who died in the TV show at the the Surge of Winterfell when they finally broke through the doors at the Battle of Bastards, right? One Wegdar 1-1 has picked up Sir Patrick and is smacking him up against the wall, and he's dead as hell, right? So all of the members of the Night's Watch start freaking out because this giant is smashing people to bloody ribbons. Jon immediately runs out and he's like, look, you guys need to chill out. Everybody calm down. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees brandished steel. And as soon as he turns around to say, hey, what the to put it away, right? He gets his neck slashed at, and then he gets stabbed in the back and in the belly, right? And all the while this is happening, there's a giant not too far away from him, and then more importantly, Melisandre is literally leading a prayer with other people. This all is somewhat being witnessed. Like, yes, it is chaos, but ultimately Melisandre is going to rush over to Jon Snow and probably realize that he's still breathing. Jon will then be healed, and the fact that he's at the wall and surrounded by so much ice would help to slow the blood, so maybe he's still alive. But if not, and this video is getting to the wrap-up point, if you all want more, well then check the link down below in the description. I've been making tons of Winds of Winter content. Jon, if he's not still alive, the fact that he's killed while Melisandre is doing a prayer to R'hllor just makes it obvious that his blood sacrifice will be enough to bring him back. Like, it's confusing, I know, but Jon is such a powerful warg, right, that he can brush against Ghost's leg while fully awake, walking around the wall, and his sense of smell and sight and hearing is all increased 1,000-fold just from brushing up against Ghost's leg. So Jon is that powerful of a warg. If he does die, he will then warg into Ghost's body. Melisandre will bring him back, and Jon Snow would have let the boy die and let the man wolf be born. And even if he doesn't end up mounting one of Daenerys' dragons, he's definitely on his way south. That's literally one of the last things he says in the Shield Hall, is by getting a bunch of the Night's Watchmen round up by saying, like, look, I'm finna go down south and take care of Ramsay. He called me out, and I'm gonna go make him eat his words. And then that's when he walks out of the Shield Hall, is when he hears, what's going on with Patrick, and then, one Wegdar 1-1, and then he's ultimately stabbed and killed. But when he's brought back, he's probably going to hang the men who killed him, continue deserting the Night's Watch, and eventually we'll meet up with Daenerys and Aegon. when she comes over to Westeros, and when Aegon makes his way up north from the Stormlands. Well, alright, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please slap a like on this video and make sure you're subscribed, so that way you'll have your notifications turned on and you'll get an alert every single time I drop a video throughout the wait for House of the Dragon Season 1, or Winds of Winter. I have a subscriber goal of trying to reach 100,000 here on YouTube. If you enjoy my content, please help me reach that goal. Long night!